runga te tō tātou nei taha wairua. Ka riro pēr ki a koe te matua kere oma, ke whakapuare tō tātou nei hui I runga I ngā kupu me ngā māramatanga o tātou mātua tupuna.
Kia ora. Ko tira me kia tau mai te rangi Māori ke tātou. E te matua ka ora o tēnei ka mātua I tukua kanei te mātua reo. Aka moimiti reo inui ki manaki te mātua I roto I tēnei huihuinga o mātua. I tēnei rā. Ko tira e mohio ngā kanei ko koe anō hoki hei arataki. Hei aka māmai na take teimaha ki waunui a mātua. Nā o tira o mātua mahi katoa hei a timata hei a koutia tona I roto I tau nei kroriatanga. Maone te maanga e awhina I kai tōtoko mai aini a kanei ai.
Ai, tēnā koe matua, tēnā koe mo te āhuatanga o tō tātou nei karakia, kia whai kaha, kia whai māramatanga hoki tātou I runga I te āhuatanga o tēnei kaupapa, kei mui tō tātou nei aroaro, nā reira tēnā koe. It's one of the things I think that we can learn from each other and what New Zealanders generally can learn from Māori people is the importance and value of karakia in the facilitation of dialogue between ourselves and what we call a hui and what other people call a meeting, I suppose. But it's great that as a board we have adopted this tikanga, and I think it's served us well as a methodology for progressing our discussions. So ngā mihi kia koe te matua, Graham, having fulfilled that aspect of our operational capability. So tēnā koe, our spiritual element, which is often forgotten in the context of managing a taonga like Oneroa-a-Tohe. So ngā mihi kia koe. Ngā mihi hoki ki o tātou nei mate, he hunga oki rātou ko Kathy Manga hoki tērā, ko Raihea Boys anō hoki tērā no te whānau kamariera. Ngā mihi kia rātou, ko hoki ki te pō. Nā reira kia tātou e noho tonu nei, ora tonu nei, ngā whakatupuranga, ngā kaumātua o tātou rangatira, pene I a koe te matua keroma, tēnā koe, koe anō, ngā kaumātua ko hoki ko tātai mai, kia tātou katoa e noho tahi nei mo te āhuatanga tō tātou nei taonga ko te Oneroa-a-Tohe. Nā reira tēnā koe, tēnā tātou katoa. Kia ora. Another aspect of Māori culture that's creeping into our methodology for our meetings is a little brief mihi there, which I just did to us all. And yeah, I think it's a great thing that as a board we have continued to weld and meld and join our thoughts under a common objective, under a common kaupapa, and I think we've done really well to get to the point of having established a plan. But a plan is only a plan until it's implemented. It's just a bit of paper with some writing on it. So what we need to do now is make it something real. And I'm so pleased that we've now moved into the stage as a board to oversee as a governance entity the development of implementation activities that give effect to that plan and give effect to the objectives of it. Because we did spend a lot of time working out what that plan should say, and I think we got it pretty well right myself, at least in broad terms. And so now we have to populate that plan with activities that give effect to it. And I'm very pleased to be still associated with the board and as a Te Raro representative, iwi representative, and to be working with my other iwi compatriots in conjunction with our local body representatives, which I believe is still one of the most innovative governance arrangements in the country in terms of managing what would normally be regarded as a public coastline. So, ngā mihi kia tātou katoa. Tēnā pēr he kōrero rano, tā te tai, i a koe pēr te matua, kia mihi e te hunga nei, i runga i tō tātou nei taupapa.
Kia ora Hami, hono ki te tautoko ke o mihi ki a tātou katoa. Ki ua tātou memo o te puari. Me o tira te hunga a karongo mai nei i waho atu. Reira, o tika ua kōrero mo tātou. Mai rāno tō tātou timatanga i tēnei kaupapa. Ka piri o ngā tātou ki a tātou anō. Nā tā mai ki tēnei wā here tunu nei. Reira mihi ake ana rā kia koe nāu tātou i arahi mai te timatanga tainua ki tēnei wā e Hami e tautoko ana rā i a koe. E roto i wau nei mahi kia o tia i te kaupapa nei. Nā ko tai ki te wā, ko mohionge ake nei e tātou, ko anga mua te kaupapa mo tātou katoa. No reira mihi ake ana. O tira ki te tautoko ake o mihi ki wa tātou tini aito e wehenei a tātou. Nā ue tahi a ka huahua, nā e mihi katoa tēnā ki a rātou. Kore taia e tātou ki te karo i tēnā huatanga i te mate. Nā ono rā ko tā mai te wā mō rātou, nā ko hoki atu rātou ki wa tātou tūpuna. Rātou ki a rātou, ko tātou tēnei te hunga ora e mihi ake ana. Mihi ake ana ki tō tātou tumu ake o te kaunihera, e John, e tēnā koe hone. Colin, kia koe Māri, e George, nā Oriole mā, Sheila, koutou katoa, Ben, koe pēr tēnei koe rā tēnei te rā mutunga, te hui mutunga mo tātou mo tēnei tau. No reira, te tūmanako kia ora pai tunu ei tātou, tainua ki tērā tau e haere akeni. No reira, Hami, ka nui rā tēnei mo tēnei wā, huri rauna kia ora mai no tātou.
Matua. Tani te pai hoki o ngā kōrero. O ti pēr ngā mihi. John, seeing as it's our last meeting of the year, you must have a little mihi.
I have, thank you, and again, it's been a pleasure working with you all. Hami, I've got to say, we've had some challenges. We've still got a heck of a lot ahead of us, by the way. And it's been, as we all know, it's been a challenging year in many areas. But like you, I think we've come together well as a team. We've got a number of things ahead of us, but in the meantime, I think we've set a good platform for us having a positive outcome. And the most important thing is the more that we can keep talking and keep confidence with each other. We don't always have to agree and won't always agree on things, but at least we can share. And that to me is the most important thing. So, Hami, thanks for having me on. By the way, I have to duck away at 11 o'clock, but I'll sit in here. But thanks very much, and a Merry Christmas and all the best for the new year. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Hami.
Sure. And of course, the old canary in the mine will be Matty Radich. If Matty Radich is still sticking with us, we're doing okay. So, ngā mihi kia koe, Matty. Mo tō kaha, kia whakapiri mai ki tēnei pāri. You're a legend, a local personality, and for me, having you stick to the board and stick to what we're doing, even through our ups and downs, I've found very, very valuable myself. And he mihi kia koe. To all the board members, of course, who all got our strengths. And people like Māori, who makes major sacrifices to be with us. Māori tēnā koe, whenua kia tātou, and of course, our Oneroa-a-Tōhe. We're quite a dyslexic bunch of bedfellows, really. And but I think what the result is, and it is really, I think, on the foundation of the people, the officials who are working with us and for us, who are taking us there, making these things happen. So, Marty, anybody else want to have something to say? I mean, this is our last meeting of the year, and it's a good time for us to reflect.
Yeah, thanks, Hami, and thanks to all on the board. I really have enjoyed my time with the board. I think it's been a really constructive process. Yes, it's like a rough time, and it takes a bit of grinding to bring that shine up on us. But I really appreciate the model that has been built, the plan that's been made, and how this can be an example, sort of the fledgling example of partnership into the future. And there's going to be little steps, baby steps for starters. You know, speed limit's not a big thing, but when it's implemented, it's a step taken. Signage, we've got to get these ashes out, but those steps really are progress, which are going to be a beacon for the rest of the country. So once again, I really have appreciated it, and mere kere he me te tātou.
Kia ora, kia ora.
Kia ora.
Yeah, kia ora, Hami. Thanks for those kind words, calling me a kamatua. Appreciate that. But yeah, thanks very much. And I've really enjoyed it. You know, being a local, been in Kaitaia for 71 years, you know, and, you know, used that beach. I remember young fellas going up there and getting toheroas and whatever and such. And it's great to see this come to fruition, and us working, and I think Marty mentioned it, it's partnership. We're all in this together, and it's great. And I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud to be part of it. And I just wanted to have a little shout out to Ben, Sheila, Oriel, NRC people who have been big drivers and administration behind this mihi that we have been doing. So that's much appreciated. But wishing you all a Merry Christmas, happy and prosperous New Year. Celebrate safely, and God bless you all. Kia ora. Thank you.
Are you there, Mary?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Ko paupe ngā kōrero. E pai noa te wahine kia kōrero mai? No? Okay. Well, me haere tonu tātou, ne? We'll carry on. And we'll start with apologies. Ingoa whakapaha. Yeah, names of people. I don't think we've got any apologies today, have we? Are you on mute? Yeah.
Is Matty on board here with us? Is he? I just don't see his name up on the screen.
I thought he was there, but he can't be.
So Oneroa-a-Tōhe communicated, Hami, that he's coming in, but he may be late. Okay. And we haven't heard from Matty.
Okay, all right. So we better hurry up and work with our quorum before anyone leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. I can so there are no apologies then. Nobody's tendered any apologies. Okay, let's move on to are there any declarations of interest? Anybody won the lotto or anything like that? No declarations of interest. Well, it's all easy so far. We're getting ahead of schedule. So let's move to our minutes then. I'm always so impressed with our minutes. They're so concise. So can someone move that they're a true and accurate record of our meeting? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'll move for a second. Yeah.
Okay.
I see. Kitchen second. Thank you.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that our minutes to be confirmed for whakai tātou. Mea kahaore whakai. Okay, minutes ko mana wena kōrero. Those minutes are now confirmed. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? I think we'll probably cover those in our remits, but Anything in addition? Anything reports back in relation to the minutes? No.
Is someone able to share the minutes on the screen?
Oh, have you got them there, Orion? No.
I have read them. It's just
Yeah, they're oh, George has got some here.
Sorry, technical difficulties at my end. Kia ora, George.
I can't see that. Oh yeah.
Too big.
That's good. It's been a while since I read them. Yes. Well, we've got an update on. Oh, we're going to have the come up in the agenda anyway about the snapper bonanza.
Yep, and the speed.
And the speed, yeah.
I think all the matters that need to come up are in our business.
I think so, yeah. Oh, well, except maybe, did we get the print run for the new plans? Well, that's going to come up too, eh? Must be. Okay. Oh, well, ka pai. Excellent. So if there are, the Modi model, yeah. Is the regional council still working with that Modi model?
You go, Oriel.
You got this one. Thanks, Sheila.
We are still working just on the development of the structure, not on any details. So once we've done that, and I'll probably work with Matua Graham on it to make sure he's comfortable with where we're going.
Right.
And then make a plan as to how we go forward with that and make sure that it's all good.
Yeah.
Just one question from that then, Hami, is nationwide, iwi hapu would be the same feeling nationwide. We were talking about getting it down to the undertakers down at Auckland so that people, or further south, so that people don't want to come and bring their family ashes or whoever up to Oneroa-a-Tōhe. So is there a nationwide move by Tangata Whenua to try and stamp the practice out?
Yes. Or provide an alternative. Maybe someone could build a wishing well and
yeah. Transporter.
Yeah, do something different with the same sort of outcome for them as a family, maybe. And then we, rather than sort of drive people away, it would be good if we help them resolve their grieving and their, that sort of aspect of getting over their deceased, I suppose.
That's a very good point, actually. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, they're not exactly criminals, but just other friends who don't quite know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on into the next agenda item, which I can't even see in front of me now.
Kia ora, Hami, aroha mai. Just to advise, we've got Gary from the aquaculture here to kōrero and present.
Yes.
The time was about 10:30, so just to advise you, they're on the Zoom as well. Kia ora.
Are they on now? Because we could probably get on with that, couldn't we?
Aye, Patika.
Yeah. Before is anything else we need to pass with that quorum? before we do that? Financial report?
Yes, please.
So the financial report is there before us. Can somebody?
It's straightforward. I'll move.
Kia ora, Māori. And somebody second?
Yeah.
Kia ora. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the financial report. Ko whakai tātou. Ngā mea kaore whakai. Great. Ko mana wena. Thank you very
Just
much.
if we can, aroha mai, just the correspondence, and that's our formal part of the agenda out of the way. Please, Hami.
Can somebody move that? Marty, shall you and I move that?
Yeah, sure, Hami.
Okay, all right. So move to second that we accept the correspondence. Those in favour say aye. Those
Aye.
against, carry. Great. Excellent. And I think we've also got Kerry here. Welcome, Kerry.
I just unmute myself. Kia ora. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Hami. I just need to check if the live stream needs to continue at this point. So I'm just going to go back to Sheila or Ben just to confirm if we need to keep live streaming the rest of this.
It might be good, might be useful for people to see it.
Ka pai.
I think we should just allow these guys without the live stream.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There are other papers though that have all got recommendations there. I mean, they're all just to receive the report. So we at the very least need to do that. And
While we're live streaming. Okay.
And Gary Hooper being here is actually part of one of those papers.
Okay.
So
how would you suggest we approach it, Ben?
my suggestion is that my recommendation is we keep live streaming.
Kia ora, thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay, Gary, welcome.
Good ora tātou, gentlemen, and thank you once again for the opportunity to give you an update to the meeting. And I guess last time we spoke was back in October, and we're sort of the season was winding down, and we had a good discussion then, and subsequent feedback that Sheila sent through to us. And I've just been asked to give an update on that. There were 4 matters. Just go through them. The comments, we had a catch up with the SPAC collectors in mid-November, and we shared the comments, the feedback from the Beach Management Board then, and it was all very constructively received. The 4 matters were the suggestion that we incorporate random drug and alcohol testing into the code of practice, and there was no objections to that, other than there was people were unsure how we would actually do that, and so we'll investigate those practices with other Far North employers to see what services, to how that actually happens. A couple of the collectors already have that as part of their operational policy, but look, we'd support that as well. Of course, many companies in our industry have something very similar.
You better not get any locals caught in the net.
Actually, there's a story on that. Hami just reminded me. It was only a few weeks ago. There was a recreational fisher with his kontiki, and the kontiki sort of crept out in the surf zone, and he wandered out to get it, and then got into a bit of bother. And by chance, there was a SPAC collector who was watching events unfold, and in the end had to drive his loader out and scoop him up. And apparently saved this guy's life in doing so. So yes, that was one local that did, and in fact he wasn't a local. He was up from down south somewhere. Anyway,
That's worth a few credits.
Yes, part of the beach clean. There's that activity as well. In terms of the COVID responsibilities, yes, they're all committed to that, and of course, delivering SPAT, this year they had to traverse through Auckland. All SPAT deliveries traverse through Auckland. So every delivery had to be pre-tested prior to that, that activity. Anytime they were traversing through Auckland, and of course they weren't permitted to stop there. I also took a pulse measure on vaccination rates, and it was a bit lower than I had hoped, but they're working on that as well. I think that's just the tyranny of distance, and for some of them. What else was there? There was the speed limits. The current code of practice says 90 k's per hour, or adhere to the speed limits. We actually state 90, but then there was a footnote saying that the Beach Management Board are contemplating a reduction of that speed limit, and when that occurs, the code of practice will immediately adjust down to that 60k speed limit. So there's an update on that today. They all know it's likely to occur, and will abide by any speed restrictions put in place. And the last comment was in regard to avoiding the shellfish beds, and the code of practice is whenever, wherever possible. And I'd like to strengthen that by saying, look, they'll use best endeavours, but the comment on the shellfish beds was that sometimes they're driving up the beach, and the shellfish beds in some parts of the beach are so prolific, they'll run for kilometres on end, which was very encouraging. And in that case, they're stretching from the low tide mark right up to the high tide. And to get across, you have no choice. But I recall, a few years ago, we did that. We actually did collecting activity on a research on a shellfish bed and a control adjacent that wasn't on a shellfish bed. And the results of that research says that even the more intensive activity of collecting had an insignificant effect. But one of the suggestions from the collectors, and something that maybe we work with the Beach Management Board on, is maybe get Phil Ross, one of New Zealand's permanent shellfish experts, to come in and resurvey parts of the beach. So at least there'll be a record of what shellfish populations are like on the beach. And that would be something that we would be keen to support as well, if the board were also keen.
Oh, that's very interesting. I think people now are beginning to talk about trying to discover a better way. Kia ora, Laws, I didn't see you there, Laws. A better way of harvesting, and there's a thought going around that maybe we should go back to hand harvesting and sorting through the seaweed in a way that ensures the survival of the other species that are not mussel spat, sort of thing. Has there been any thought given to that?
Yeah, that's another potential area of research, is to look at, well, what else is in the material that's gathered up. I did ask the collectors recently about that. They said through a whole season there might be half a dozen flounder in total, which are thoroughly enjoyed by those who are lucky enough to collect it. But very rarely, do they see anything else other than, there's other weed that doesn't have spat on it, which are normal cases.
Yeah, I don't think it was a bite-sized. The bite-sized they're talking about was more the microscopic, And
yeah, thank you, Hami. That is another area that's probably worthy of some research, is to really understand at every level, every size level, what is in there.
Yeah. You're on mute, Laws. Yeah.
There's also work going on in industry, Hami, in terms of being able to better on the beach assess the viability of the spat, and then not taking it where it in fact looks like it's going to be a worthless exercise. And so Gary's got work underway doing some trialing of that, because the idea that ideally we'd get it into real time.
And I hear some of the collectors that have already do that. If it's not good enough, they put it back in the sea and it keep washing and collect it when it's further up the beach. I believe that's a common practice.
It is a common practice, Hami, but it's not on the beach. They have to take samples back to the base and then bring the weed. If it's no good, then bring the weed back. As opposed to this latest device is that we're able to take a sample on the beach and using the wonders of technology, basically takes a photo. Or they have to take a sample of the weed and then they have to wash the spat off the weed and then put it into a slide.
Oh, hey.
And then it's using that artificial intelligence. It takes the image and the artificial intelligence tells them what is the spat count, what is the condition of the spat, and what's the size of the spat, which will all determine how attractive it would be. All this would occur on the beach, so that would make the effort of collecting much more efficient. But as importantly for the farmer at the receiving end, he knows the sample from that collection event represented this number of viable spat versus sometimes he or she wonders whether they're receiving sand on their seaweed, which doesn't grow as well.
We'll hear from the other board members, but I think it's really great to see that innovation is still going on. People are still trying to think about how to improve things and make things better. That's really important for the community to see that. It's not a sort of a static money-making exercise, and that's really good. And because at the end of the day, and I know this is Graham's view too, that the code of practice is all we've got to defend ourselves with, if you like, in terms of how we relate to the hapu and tangata whenua groups and their aspirations. So if by having that code of practice, that is the buffer zone, as it were, between the two activities, and maybe with the shellfish beds, we can start getting hapu to identify. Like, for example, just a little bit north of Waimimiha is a well-known shellfish bed that people have used for generations, and it's sort of named and defined in many ways. So maybe if the hapu could start doing that, and we could start surveying and ensuring it's not too damaged by anything, including activities that are not being conducted by spat collectors, then I think we're really starting to make the plan work for all stakeholders. What other board members think?
Yeah, just a couple of points. Thanks for that, Gary. Not wanting to try and make it more expensive for the spat collectors, but I wonder if the spat collectors could actually be leading the move towards 60 Ks before it's actually written down. And I wonder if that slower speed might have a better protection on the the shellfish beds. But the question I have on the shellfish beds is what part of the tide mark is best to use, just above low or just below high or whereabouts, and whether that should be looked at, and whether there should be sort of a defined keep to the top or keep to the bottom, or whether it's best to drive at random for least potential damage to the bed. Having heard and seen those facts that there's very little damage done when they're upright, but just something worth looking at.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. That the material I've read suggests lower is better than higher. That the Toiroa tend to occupy the higher part of the beach, the Tuatua the lower part, and of course where the surface is firmer. No, I accept your Marty, your comments showing some leadership speed limits, and we'll certainly look to socialise that with the collectors and give them every encouragement to do so.
Don't tell them I did. Thanks, Gary.
This is live stream still going? Maybe.
That's a very positive one if it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You happy, Graham, with the way things are going? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Have the thumbs up.
Yeah.
Paying all good with me, Gary. And yes, I also agree. It would be good practice to begin the speed limit that we've agreed to now rather than later. They can slowly work in towards that. But it's good to hear that technology is allowing these guys to get a sample of the spat out on the beach and get the result of that sample. Now, in regards to where you drive on the beach, and we need to be mindful that that seafood, the tuatua and the toiroa, kind of work in the same area. For some reason, now that the tuatua seem to be coming higher up. There was a time where you had to get out and swim for them, up to your knees in that at low tide even. But now they're finding them further up the beach, according to the fisheries officers anyway. So research is something, Gary, that we are lacking, and it would be good to get Phil perhaps up again to revisit that, so that we can get a better view of how things are at present. So yeah, all supportive of where we're going with this.
Kia ora, kia ora. But you, Tosh, you must have had tuatuas for breakfast.
Yeah, I was actually around Poinga Middle, around Shipwreck Bay the other day, your 65th birthday. Yeah, I was a lot there. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a fan of new technology and making things work more efficiently, and I do agree with that. Getting the spat pickers to champion the speed limit, because I had heard previously that I had been, as fire service, been to a couple of accidents on the beach there. One spat picker had rolled over 3 times, lucky to be alive, and doing about over 100 and something k's. You can see the marks and everything. So we've got to educate them, and they can be our leaders in getting people to understand that the speed limit, we must stick to it. Kia ora. Thank you.
I think the trouble is, Lewis, that all those spat tractors, they got V8s.
Yeah. Well, as you know, there's a bit of difference between when you're driving along the beach and when you've got a trailer full. So they seem to think they need it for that. So one thing that the board can probably help us with, though, is that, as you would appreciate, that there's this artificial boundary line in the middle of the biological season that's put in terms of the fishing year, and we've asked the ministry and the minister to change the fishing year, and it's going to be critical for setting the right incentives for everybody in terms of doing everything right. But unfortunately, it doesn't feature highly enough in the political stakes to get on the agenda. So probably if you can assist in helping encourage them to do that, because that'll help us all.
Well, it would have been a good idea, but unfortunately, fisheries is one aspect of the board's activity that we have no real direct interest in per se, and the closest interest group you have to that are those Maoris and Mahipara. They got the dibs on the QMS, and so I think it'll come down to maybe a working relationship with those between. It'd be a great thing, I think, if we can get a working relationship between the Kaitiaki people, not just Mahipara, but anywhere on the beach with the collectors, and because what I've observed is that they're very much the same sort of people. they're beach people, you know, and they have common interests and common values. You can see that, and so there must be opportunities to be able to work together collaboratively on things, and that would be a good thing to progress, I reckon.
Okay.
Anything else? You can't hear, Marty.
Just that last bit you cut out, Hami.
I'm just saying it'd be a great idea for the spat collectors to collaborate with the local kaitiaki over activities collaboratively. That would be a really good outcome.
Yeah.
For the beach.
Just as a comment though, although we don't have jurisdiction over the fisheries, there's no harm in us if we're of agreement to writing a letter of support, having a motion of support. Just to back it up, we are part of that 12-mile limit, aren't we? So
yeah, well, certainly the environment that we're working in, that's true. But I think if we did that, we'd have to make sure that we're au fait with what the iwi perspective is on it, because we wouldn't want to be entering into anything that's not going to be consistent with supporting their strategic direction.
Hami, one of the reasons that I mentioned it is that it came from our joint working group that had iwi in terms of the whole putting everything together. So it's the one part that we haven't made as much progress as it would be good.
Well, I must say I attended that forum last week and I was very impressed with it. You're usually there, aren't you, Mata, Graham? I was really impressed with that forum. I thought it covered some good issues and got down to the number of some issues, of discussion. I was impressed with the discussion and the outcome. So I think that's working well for us at forum.
Can we put it as a matter that we can look at?
Yep. Who should we discuss it with, Lewis?
Well, maybe if we send you a little bit background paper and a draft for the board to consider.
Yep. And we can just write a letter that supports the intent, and we'll line it up with our iwi members to make sure we're not saying anything inconsistent with our iwi aspirations, and it'll be good. It'll show a seamless approach. Okay. Oh, well, thank you very much, Gary.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Ben Lee from council mentioned I was on some item. I trust this is it, Ben, because I'm not aware of anything else we've lined up for.
We'll give you the final say, Ben.
No, that's right. It was speaking to the item, so I think you're free to go. Sheila, is that correct?
Okay.
Do you have any issues, Ben? Any issues you'd like for us to cover before they go, Ben?
No, not me.
Okay.
I'd look to Sheila though. You got anything, Sheila?
No, nothing from me, but just Laws, in terms of the changing of the fishing year, what was that in relation to? Just maybe for some of the council's members who don't.
Yep. So the green lip mussel 9 spat is part of the quota management system, and it's set down to have a fishing year that starts on the 1st of October. It means it finishes on the 30th of September. And for everybody to be doing everything right, you then have to buy the entitlement to catch spat up to that period, and it's in the middle of the season. So some years people will end the year with having paid for spat that they never could use, and then have to buy more. And that's what drives some of the attention in terms of people trying to get things done by the 30th of September and chasing spat earlier in the year that might not be in good condition.
Right.
And if we just changed it to be 1st of April to 31st of March, all of that disappears and people just then work with nature far better. But at the moment, we've got a misalignment between sort of some financial parts of the system and nature. So. But unfortunately, in order to get that change, it actually requires a legislative change. So for everything else in the quota management system, you can just do it by regulation. But this is one quirk that we've just found.
Oh, local MPs.
Wherever I see legislative change, I see opportunity.
I think Auntie Kuri provided support for that, didn't we?
Yes, definitely did. Yeah, all the iwi that participated did. Indicated to the ministry that it was highest priority. So we've, as a working group, we've done all the bits that we thought that we could do. That one's still sitting.
Sheila,
So-
did you have something?
Yeah, so that can be something that you can task to the TSG, Hami, to look
Yeah.
into and provide information back to the board. So we can draft up that info with Laws and George.
The only thing I would say about that, with my representative Te Raroa hat on, is that we're also thinking about the idea that the way the QMS allocation model works, what happens is that even though almost the entire catch is caught within a 25-kilometre stretch of beach, it's shared with the rest of the country in terms of allocation, and we don't think it's fair, because we end up at something less than 4% of the quota for the people who actually are living there on that 25-kilometre stretch of beach. And we need to find a better, more equitable way of ensuring that the allocation reflects the fact that most of it, 80% of it's caught here. So not quite sure how to approach that, but just warning you there, Laws, that if a legislative change is going to be mooted, then we would seek to include that issue to be addressed as well, and it might snag it. I don't know, but you know, it's something that I've been instructed by Te Raroa to proceed to begin to discuss. And so far, I'm just banging my head against the brick wall, but I'm sure eventually all brick walls crack. And it's something that needs to be resolved anyway. And so is this one, so is the season one. So maybe we could all do it together and live happily ever after.
Be nice to think about that. There are other options, so I might talk with you offline about them, Hami, that we're looking to better assist the iwi there in terms of getting a greater expression of the thing. So
Great. Okay. Oh well, thank you so much. Very much. Very informative. Yes, Marty.
I suppose Ben will be the one to know how to move it forward, so that both issues, or all issues regarding the spat fishery and legislation on Te Oneroa-a-Tohe are addressed.
Yes, of course. Ben's an expert. But just Laws, is it true? My friends from Whakatohe tell me that they're going to move to growing mussel spat on shore because the sea's getting too warm to get it in.
Well, there are, as you would know, that there's Sanford's already have a spat hatchery for mussels, and I'm aware that Whānau Apanui are looking at establishing another one, but I don't think that anybody's yet at the point of saying that they're going to give up from collecting it in the wild. That, in fact, it's the part of the hybrid genetic stock that we're going to need to take to hatcheries. And I know that Whakatohe have been lowering in the water where they were putting spat and things to have better attention.
I see. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, gentlemen.
And thank you.
Appreciate it.
Christmas and New Year.
Kia ora. Okay, so let's move on with the I can't find the agenda now.
We just had confirmed that Wallace Rivers puts in his apologies as well, and noting that Mayor Carter has left the meeting.
He's gone. Okay, well, we don't need a quorum anymore, do we?
So no, you do have one or two other items that technically you do need to, you should receive. However, they are information items rather than decision items, so you're okay. Yes, and so with John leaving, you don't have a quorum.
Right. Okay, that's all good. So let's proceed with those when I can find the agenda. Can anybody see what's next on the agenda? I can't find it. Here we go. Speed limits.
So Hami, sorry.
Yeah.
Me again. Just in terms of we were hoping Sean from NTA was going to speak to this paper.
Okay.
And he's communicated this morning that he didn't have it. He didn't have it in his calendar.
Oh, okay.
So what he's asked is potentially if the board can look at the paper, if any questions, we'll take those questions and ask the TSG to continue that with NTA.
Okay, so we'll just leave that for individual members to read and come back to you with any questions they might have.
What
Sure.
is there to look at? We've looked at it for the last 12 months and nothing's been done. He needs to get on with it.
Yes. It's just a matter of approving it for them, isn't it?
Hmm.
Oh, so that would have been the update, wasn't it? Well, no, you wouldn't be able to justify the benzene to come just to give an update on that.
Yeah, all we're interested in is the speed limit on Oneroa-a-Tohe, not anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh well, we can confine our remarks and our questions to that. If we have any feedback to the document that's been shared with us.
Order. Thank you.
Yeah.
The the report doesn't really say. I mean, it says that they've made a submission, but it doesn't say any who they've made. Actually, two, apart from the speed limit review. So they've been pretty non-specific in their reporting back. So I tend to agree with Graham. It's a little bit pathetic.
Yeah, well, it may require us to provide more specificity, and identify the beach as a unique speed limit area, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a state highway, isn't it?
Well, one legal opinion says that, but another legal opinion doesn't. So I think it's still up in the air, really. But at the end of the day, it's down to us and the way we manage it. And numbers are just numbers, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's about us looking after the people on the beach, looking after our whānau.
Yeah, exactly.
Health and safety.
Right. Yeah.
Hami, if I could just say a quick thing. I think this is while there might be some frustration with the time it's taking to get through the process, the fact that it is still progressing, the NTA are supporting what the board have put up, and that we're looking at a decision in June, I think you can still take that as some good news.
Okay. Okay. And it must be working because they're setting new limits on the roads. So.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about the loader driving code.
Sorry, just before we move on from that, I've moved and seconded often enough. If we better move and second that one as well. Received, Hami.
Received, yep. Okay.
Just sorry, because John has left, that we don't have a quorum, so we can't receive the paper.
Don't make a motion. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, Hami, you were right.
It's all right. Right. So let's give. Was there anything more on the update for the beach collecting and loader driving code of practice? Is that in addition to the existing code of practice, or is it a reinforcement of it?
Was in addition what we had asked, Tammy?
Yeah.
I've just shared it there again, Hami, if you need that. Otherwise, I can take it back down.
Yeah, no, I'll go over there and do it over here.
Yep. Sorry, I do just have a question with Gary and Laws. Do you want them to attend? Because we have bi-monthly meetings. Do you want them to attend those bi-monthly meetings and provide an update? Particularly because now we might have the science and research stuff.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yep.
Yeah, so do I.
Cool.
They're valuable contributors.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Especially when we start to move out into the water.
Yeah. Okay. I'll make sure we keep up that comms.
Yeah. Well, this is good. This update. Anybody got any discussion about it, about the update? it shows you we're on a path of continuous improvement. And as Willie Gardner used to say, that's what you have to aim for in management.
Well, yeah, I'm appreciating their attendance and input.
So nobody got any any matters relating to this briefing?
Nothing further.
Okay. So the next one then is those wild dogs. Surely you've shot them by now, Matua?
Yeah, well, the numbers are slowly getting reduced, Hami, but we've got this feral dog plan, which is great. And we have the regional council, the Far North District Council, MPI, all contributing to the process now. We've got 2 hunters that's going to start from up the top at Te Werahi.
Yeah.
That's just south of Te Rerenga-Wairua, and work their way through. They're currently waiting for the for DOC to sign off on their contract, and then everything will be on its way. So in the meantime, though, we need to I see Kerry is on our team here. We need to make sure, Kerry, that all the walkers are aware of this happening very soon. There will be signage, but people tend to walk around the signs and carry on. So there will be some signs put up for areas that's going to be occupied by these guys hunting for the dogs. We've managed to get rid of probably about 18 or 20 odd dogs so far, and there's still more in there. And of course, there's not only up in that area, they're all through the forest as well. And they've been seen on the beach and just up on the dunes. And there's been several sightings by the spat collectors, the harvesters rather. And so everyone's got a keen eye out for these wild dogs. And it didn't seem an issue right at the start, but even though there was a lot of noise made about it, we eventually found people coming across to actually support what we're trying to do. So that's where we are, and making good progress on that one.
Fantastic. And you're appreciative of what's going on up there, Kerry?
Yes, thank you, kia ora, Graham. Thank you for that. Yeah, I had a phone call from May Hardy-Birch from Doc Ops to say that she'd been talking to you, and I've passed that on, and we've updated the website for the Far North to make sure that people, don't walk, highlighted not to walk alone and not to walk at night or at dusk, and treat all dogs as dangerous and wild, so be careful. If there's any sightings, there's a DOC hotline to phone that, perhaps with a GPS and a photo if they can. Yeah. So it's been highlighted on the website as the Te Reo website as to, be very careful and for the Far North, especially now that the borders are open, there'll be more people, I'm sure, wanting to walk the beach. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of putting a stall up and selling orange jerseys. So if you're wearing an orange jersey, you'll be safe. Tēnā koe matua mo e nā mahi. E mahi hohondu tēnā. So that's very good. It's great to hear that, and keeping our manuhiri safe. So I think that just about brings us to
just one question of that, Hami. Just wondering how they've managed to get hold of or knock out 18 to 20 there, Graham.
Quite easily when they start getting up to mischief and killing stock, bro.
Yeah.
Most of those dogs have been shot up in the Tipaki area.
Yeah.
And on Nelson's farm at Chenstones, and further down in Pāringaringa also. Down at Te Raiti, there's also been a problem there. But if you, when you go and have a chat with these farm managers, they're pretty grumpy about these dogs and how they started. We've got an idea of where they started from, but I guess there's water under the bridge now. There's dogs out there, so we would need to concentrate more on the live dogs that are racing around out there.
Yeah.
Scotch Point will be an area that we really need to manage, Kerry, up the stairwell and over towards Twilight. Those are the areas that's going to be concentrated on. DOC are going to put signs there, but whether people take notice of them or whatever. But yeah, when the contract actually starts, that's when we'll make a bit more noise to let everybody know where they are and to be aware. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I went out to take out some goats around where I lived down in the Kapiti Coast the other day, and after I missed twice, I went home. Not easy to knock those animals off, is it?
No. Well, with those dogs, you got one chance, eh?
Yeah.
If you miss with your first shot, then you go home.
Yeah.
So it's been great though. The council has contributed some traps to to help try and catch these dogs, but they're cunning. They won't go into a trap. These dogs, they're smarter than we think. They realise obviously when they go in, there's the door behind them, and they're very shy of that trap. I think the only way is to have some live bait in the trap to lure them in, and so that's where we're investigating now to try and get them there. There's a lot of money being spent on the traps to get the job done, but they're finding the best possible way is to sit them out and then eventually have them on target. So that's where we are. We've had a dog that we caught in the trap, and we brought it down to the vet and had it spayed, and then we put a tracker collar on it and we let it go again out there. So that we had to be sure that dog's not going to start breeding again. It was just a young dog, and we were able to get have the tracking monitor going, and we were able to find where it was and everything else. But the batteries don't last, and they've gone down a bit. So, but the same dog's been seen on camera. But that's it, they've got cameras set out there, and that same dog has been around the same sighting area. So yeah, good progress being made, mate. And we're just doing this on the quiet. We're not making too much noise, as you can imagine. The public will start asking all the questions, but we'd rather get some results before we start talking.
It's a real science.
Yeah.
Oh, tēnā koe, tēnā kutu, tēnā tātou. Thank you very much, Matua. Okay, well, our last 5.6 agenda item is the progress of the technical steering group. Is that you, Sheila?
Oh, it's all of us. George, Teresa, Ben.
Yes.
I just put the paper on.
Someone's gonna have to tell us about it.
Yeah. So we just, so at the last meeting, we had 4 items that had been assigned to the TSG to look into. The scattering of the ashes, speed limits, resource consents, and then the Snapper Bonanza funding and letter of endorsement. So we just start at the top of the scattering of ashes. That one was me. So as a part of that, just an update for the board that the letter has been drafted, is ready for distribution. That they'll go out next week. I just want to finish clarifying some things. We've identified all the funeral homes and mortuaries within Taitokerau, but I've also spoken down with Tipene Funeral Homes just to get an understanding of how many people are they aware of that actually bring their ashes back into Taitokerau, and whether they'd like to receive information from us as well. So we will include in the distribution Tipene Funeral Homes. Yep, so that's where we're at. You guys got some questions about that process so far?
I'm all good.
Yeah. What I might do, Hami, is just pass the letter on to the board, Matua Graham, Wallace, and Matua Waitai, just to make sure they're comfortable or want to add anything into it before we send it out.
That'd be great.
Awesome.
Sure.
In terms of speed limits, we've had that update. So in that paper, it did say that everything going well, the speed limit will be adopted by June 2022. So we are still looking at a 6-month window potentially of the speed limits not changing on Te Oneroa-a-Tohe. So that'll give, I guess, a bit of time for the TSG to get an understanding of what that means for signage, and to work with NTA and FNDC around that, given some of our action items request or require the signage to be bilingual.
Just that number 3 in the speed limits where we say that's no driving vehicles along the beach and in the sea, except when launching boats. Well, we need to be mindful that the spat harvesters go into the sea as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
So make provisions for that.
Yeah. We'll do that. I'm not sure that the speed vehicles on beaches speed limits will deal with vehicles in the sea.
There are some idiots that drive through the
Yeah.
in the water and just to have fun, including some of those buses. So we just, but in regards to people doing their business that that we're all aware of, like the spat collecting guys, then we need to be mindful that occurs as well.
Aye. Awesome. I'll pass it over to Teresa for 1.3 resource consents process. Sorry, Matua, were you finished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just backing up, backing up to the ashes, if we could flag that recommend or suggestion perhaps of looking to being able to accommodate people, Harmy.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's something we could think about that as a board, I suppose.
Yeah.
Would we be happy to consider such a place? And if we were happy to consider such a place, I imagine it had to be in conjunction with the tangata whenua of that place. Absolutely. And and is there a place we can establish a little botanical garden, put up a whaling, they call it a whaling wall down in Wellington, Karori, and it's just a wall of ashes cemented into in containers into a wall, and it's an area that people can go to and reflect, and it's a little botanical garden sort of place. And we could, that's a bit of a long-term thing from our point of view. would we consider something like that? Well, I suppose if it was a need of our constituency, we might. Be a bit controversial, I suppose.
Just something to flag and probably not to talk about now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very happy to consider a proposal myself. But if it's not led by tangata whenua, I think it'll always going to flounder.
Yeah, it'll crash.
Well, I think the issue for us is the spreading of ashes on the beach.
Yeah,
Yes.
And that's where that issue should stay rather than provide another option.
yeah,
In the meantime,
yeah,
that's a totally new issue altogether, in my view.
yeah. It is. Yeah. We may get there if we progress much further down that track, perhaps, but we're not there yet, Marty.
Kapai.
What was the third one, Sheila?
1.3 resource consents process.
Oh, yeah.
So
Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Teresa Tino.
Kia ora.
Ngā mihi mahana o te hihana kirihimete, me te tauhou tauiwi, ki ngā memo o te poari. Just with the couple of us in the technical steering group have, George and I met to kōrero about this actions A16 and A22, the resource consent process in the beach management plan. So it's a work in progress, but and we're not ready to report on it formally yet, but just for your information, what we've been talking about is firstly applicants pre-application engagement with the board is best practice. Should be encouraged post-application notification of the board as an interested and affected party by the consenting authority, that's regional council and district council. Looking at the process in terms of it relates to, so all regional council consents within the beach management plan area, all FNDC land use and subdivision consents adjoining the beach management plan area. Particularly including discharges to waterways that exit onto the beach, such as the Idle River and other rivers up the beach. We're broadly looking at or investigating the establishment of a secretariat to ensure that its process is resourced, that the process is timely pre-application responses. What else we talked about? I think that pretty much covers it. But yeah, as I say, it's a work in progress, and we'll come back to the board with something more firm in writing as we move through it.
Thank you.
Hey, Teresa, can in regards, and I've always talked about this one in regards to the dogs on the beach, that's not under control. Is there any more that the council can do to to stop these guys just racing down on the beach and tipping their dogs off and having a race with their dog, and having fun pretty much, and at most cases it's at risk to the general public? Is there anything done about that we can actually point to a clause that's in that document to make sure that that kind of activity is being cared for?
So you're talking more about the dog control bylaw, Graham, I think.
Yeah,
So,
the current council bylaw doesn't do nothing for Te Oneroa-a-Tohe. And I'm talking specifically for Te Oneroa-a-Tohe and the beaches up in the far north. People are, right up in Raroa Beach. They're pleasing themselves. How when to take their dogs on the beach. There's a bird sanctuary up there, same as around Tanutanu and out at Te Raroa there. There's areas that are protected, but people tend to just take their dogs and, let them have fun racing around, chasing birds and whatever. So having no regard for the nesting areas of these birds.
Yeah.
Okay. Does this require then maybe a suggestion from the board to the TSG that we look into which of the actions and the plan relate to this particular issue around the dog control bylaw, specifically for the beach, and look into how we prioritise that?
Yeah.
Looking at getting onto it sooner rather than later. You asking, Graham?
At least protect our beaches in the Te Hiku area. Others may do something totally different, but I think we need to show leadership here and manage our beaches a bit better than we are now.
I remember we talked about this once before, didn't we, Graham? And you asked me to look into the dog control bylaw. To be honest, I haven't given it any thought since, so maybe I'll just take that away as a task to do and raise it again with and our TSG hui.
Yeah, just a reminder.
Back to me. Oh, sorry.
Oh, just a reminder for the board that from the 15th of December to the 31st of January and on all public holidays, dogs have to be on leash from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Otherwise, they can be off leash for ahipara. And in that dog management policy for FNDC, there's no other beach along, no other area along Te Oneroa-a-Tohe that requires to be on leash.
The beach doesn't stop at ahipara.
No, yeah, and that I think that was the problem last year, eh?
Yeah. So we need that right across all our beaches, right up to Kapuwairua, Taputaputa, Raroa, even out Karikari out this other way at Whatawhiwhi. Same thing. At least show that we are looking into that. And that's one of the things that I was quite concerned about and kept pushing during the formation of our plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Ionogram will add that to our list of things. Any other
draft of that, Teresa, when you're nearly there?
Kapai.
Please, I do have a question. Every now and again we come across people. Well, I do anyway, who I think would have the potential to be a good environmental commissioner, and I wonder whether is there opportunity for us to refer those sort of people to you or to somebody who can, and they can get into some kind of pool for consideration for being considered for training or qualifying or something, or is that where am I?
Yeah.
I'm way off the mark there.
Well, no, there is. I can't recall. I don't know. Sheila or Ben, you might be able to help me out with this. There is an action relating to commissioners in the plan, so there'll be a specific action to that. But in the broader sense, you're talking about FNDC and getting on the FNDC independent commissioners list.
I think I used to think that we should develop our own pool and list of commissioners specific to the board, but I've now come to the conclusion that we're better off just getting people trained up in the wider genre of commissioning, and maybe it's a specialization in beach thing, and have them there for as a vocation, I suppose, something that makes it worthwhile for them. But you come across people who you think would be good for that, And it's not a fait accompli, but if there was somewhere where I could refer them to, and say, you should talk to these people about perhaps doing some kind of course or program to upskill and perhaps qualify as a commissioner, because we've got so few Māori ones.
Yeah, funny should, we're just in the process of reviewing our independent commissioners list of FNDC. So what the process is that to be on that list, you need to have done that the Ministry for the Environment Making Good Decisions course that's provided by WSP now. So that's where I always point people first, is to that course. But then post settlement, there was a specific course up here, I think, wasn't there, for people, iwi and Hopi people. Iwi recommended people to come along, and quite a few people did the training, and the training was actually held up here in Kaitaia, I think. 2016 or 2017. Needs a reasonable amount of resourcing, and that's the course is something like $2,000 per person, I think. But it's certainly an action somewhere in the plan, isn't it?
There's an element of pastoral care needed in the day. It's not the people who I think will be really good at it. They have to become. You have to facilitate their involvement, otherwise they wouldn't naturally, sort of go for it. But once they get into it, they realize the importance of it, and then I think that they'll swing into it, because you have to have a relative, you have to be relatively, you have to be fairly, skilled to be able to do that course, don't you?
Yeah, I agree, Hami. This is not something new. You've raised it quite some time back. And so, we need to pursue that.
There was certainly the capacity and capability that we're wanting to be encouraging.
Maybe as a board we could. Because I used to think that we're going to train our own ones up, but I can see now it's not the best way of doing it. But maybe as a board we could sponsor some, pay that $2,000 fee.
Certainly an action. What's the action? A18 to formalise a list of approved commissioners to consider resource consents relating to Te Oneroa-a-Tohe management area. That's
a list of commissioners with the potential to be approved. Because I think that one or two of the ones that I'm thinking of, they just need a little bit of an introduction first to give them the good focus,
Are you wanting
someone advocating too strongly for iwi, which is not really what the issue is there. The issue is getting balance, and to get that balance, it's just a matter of giving them the information and knowledge they need to be make a good sort of assessment. You don't need to be a Don Quixote.
Are you, Hami, are you wanting the TSG to tease that one out a bit?
That's where it would sit in that arena, and I imagine it would be a great a resource for the TSG as well, to be able to tap into that sort of network of environmental oversight. What do you think, Ben? You're the expert in this, aren't you?
Yep, no, I agree. I think we can go away and have a look at it. There are sort of little pots of funding around the place as well, that we could go and have a look at as well. So no, happy to go away and look at it and come back to you with some recommendations.
Right. And in the meantime, those of us who are iwi on this board, we should be, and I'll talk to Wallace, and maybe you can talk to Waitai Matua, and we start identifying within our iwi people with potential for that, and get them moving along the pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
In agreeing with it, Hami, does it require a formal recommendation from the board to go to the TSG, or otherwise it might be a little bit ad hoc?
I think we're still at the formative stage, Marty.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Well, 40-10, I think. Is there anything else? We're into general business, I think. Or have we finished, Sheila? Sorry.
The reprint and the Snapper Bonanza.
Snapper Bonanza, we had a letter from Johnny Stewart, I think.
Yeah.
Morning.
They were pretty grateful for our support.
Mm.
I think that was a very good thing for us to do. I sort of sounded people out about that. Some people were really grateful for us doing that, and some people thought we should never have done that as a board. So that was quite interesting. But in the end, of course, they didn't need it. So we ended up on a moral high ground.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah, very good.
Mm.
Yeah, so if you do speak to the Snapper Bonanza guys, just maybe be aware they probably are still a little bit apprehensive about what's happening with COVID and what that might mean in terms of risk. They are having to now start purchasing prizes, so they are having to invest money now with an understanding that the event may still not go ahead. But they obviously got enough money that they didn't tell me how much they got from Northland Inc. So it must have been a good amount. So yeah, so that they are still floating around. And I think what in the future, the same way that we've done with that culture, in the same way Kerry is turning up for the Te Araroa Trail, having Northland Inc. or the Northland Event Fund attend and provide us with information around engagement, what's happening from their perspective about events on or around Te Oneroa-a-Tohe is another relationship that we need to foster for the board. So
Right.
we'll keep doing that as the TSG as well.
So where did we get to with the legal opinion on that funding that we were talking about for the Snapper Bonanza beer?
We didn't need to go there in the end, did we?
No.
Well, I'll let Teresa talk to that because she got their in-house lawyer to have a look at it. So, Teresa, you able to speak to that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we asked, the TSG asked FNDC's in-house legal counsel to ask the question. We asked the question that the board asked at the last. Let me just clarify that question to remind you. Just bear with me. So the legal advice sought on behalf of the board was that the board had approved $10,000 to come from the beach board funds for the Snapper Bonanza. The use of the funds would include advocacy, education and promotional material for the beach board and the beach management plan. And the question was, can the beach board funds be used for this purpose as per the Taku claim settlement legislation? And it included the advice related received on the matter from Te Arawhiti in 2020. So one of our in-house counsel, Alex Goodwin, considered that, and that's a record of that is attached as an appendix. But in summary, I guess this is I'm not a lawyer, so this is my layperson's interpretation of that advice. Was it was neither a yes or a no to the question. We didn't get a yes or no answer. But what we got was an answer that said basically if it was consistent with, so you had to look at exactly what promotional material and advocacy and so on was being proposed, and then determine whether that was consistent with section 67 of the settlement legislation. So I think it's one of those things, if we're asking the question again, it was a moot point now because they don't need that money, but when the subject comes up again, we need to look at what is it that is being asked for, and is it consistent with the functions of the board under section 67. That's my lay interpretation of it.
Well, we need the legal opinion, because that's may not be the only activity that will be asked to help support, and that's why I'm going back to that again, and have that so that we know if there's another round that we're asked to support financially, that it can be done.
That's correct. So I guess it's a case. Yeah, I guess it's a case. Then it's a case by case situation.
You would have to put the information in front of the lawyer, and then they look at it specifically.
Yeah, that's basically what he said. I can't be sure without knowing exactly what the detail it is of this, promotional material, advertising material, hats, logos, whatever that's being paid for, to see that it is consistent with the functions of the board.
Yeah.
In principle, it's okay, but it comes down to specifics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wanted my cap to say I'm cruising at 60.
Plus.
Matua Graham, we'll take it back to the TSG and come back to you with a way forward. We do have the advice from Te Arawhiti as well around what we need to do if we do want to expend the remaining funds. So I think if we as a TSG think of a process as to how we can, if someone does come to us looking for financial assistance, how we then compare that to what we've got in the beach management plan as other priorities, so that you're informed as to the decision that you're making. So we'll do that with Oriel and Ben and Teresa and George. Yeah, and I think with the Sampa Bonanza, it's a very unique case study, because it's right there on the beach, and so there wouldn't be anything else that's sort of that direct in terms of our convergence of arenas. So yeah, that's right. It's good. Thank you very much for that.
I think for us that we were looking at some sort of partnership with those guys, with what's the name, Collard and all of those guys that are running the Bonanza.
Yeah.
And that's where I was heading. I'm not interested in anything else. And so the question was asked at our meeting prior that to get a legal opinion. And that legal opinion should have been in writing for us to view, so that we can see that this is the process that you have to follow. And so that we all understand whether it can or can't be done. Not a yes or no answer. That's something that we didn't ask for. We wanted something definite. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
So the email trail is in the board's package there for you to read through.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it'll be more than just one legal opinion. It'll be a whole suite of information that surround that issue. Because if we're going to get down to the real bottom of it, then the legal opinion will provide the legal parameters, but there are also policy parameters, organizational parameters, people parameters, iwi parameters. So I think that we've got a bit of a way to go to develop our position on that. But once we do develop it, once we do develop it, you're quite right. That'll be our flagship point of supporting the right initiatives.
Yeah, for sure. And so with the question, the request rather is asked again. We know, from that, from the legal opinion, exactly where we can go with this, and we're not guessing on the thing next time.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I can see that. Very clear to me. Is it clear to others?
Yep, I was just making a note about the Snapper Bonanza and how the TSG needing to do some work on how we're going to support the relationship between the board and the Snapper Bonanza for next year. So I guess I took from what you said, Matua Graham, that you are still wanting that engagement with the event next year. So is that what you're wanting?
Well, that's correct, because we, the question, it started by Ngāi Takoto withdrawing, and then we thought that, it was my opinion that we, rather than let the opportunity to go outside of Aotearoa, out of Te Hiku, that the beach board took that opportunity up, and that was the whole purpose of asking that can some of our funding be used for that purpose. And that's so now that they're saying that they've got the funding, well, fine. We're obviously outside of that opportunity now. They will carry on and do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, George.
That's the way I see it now. So if the opportunity later allows someone else to pick it up, then I guess for us, there's a lost opportunity for the beach board.
Well, we've got a bit more time now to develop it.
Okay, let's move on. Don't sit on this one.
Kia ora, Matua. That was the I think that's the last of our technical group issues, isn't it?
Hami, you had George's hand up and Marty's hand up. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
Oh no, I can't see it. Oh, well, let's have George first.
Yeah, please.
Thank you. I was just thinking, in response to the advice that has been tendered, if you still wish to advance support for the Snapper Bonanza crew, then you only need to get them to undertake advocacy of the beach board's management plan and compliance with some of the policies that we're wishing to advance, in particular the speed limit and a general all-round care for the beach as a condition for sale of ticket purchase, I would suspect, and you'd be well within the guidelines there for leadership and advocacy.
Sure. That's a good idea. You create a relationship.
Yeah, my input was that I understood we were just a fallback to ensure the success of the Bonanza, that it did go ahead, Graham or Hami.
Yeah. Well,
until they pick, now that they've picked someone up, then we can sit back.
Yes, we were sort of like in a way a default mechanism, but nevertheless our engagement and involvement was based on our particular objectives being sought.
Yep.
And so the prime objective wasn't to support them. The prime objective was to progress our objectives through our support for them. So that's the right way to look at it, I think.
Yep.
Hami, I'd like to see us keep that dialogue going with them, and in relation to next year's program is to get onto the program, like the opening ceremony. Be there to do the karakia, do that stuff, and talk about our beach board and whatever, and also to participate with the starter packs, that sort of thing. So we need to start working, as Graham was saying, is that partnership. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Maybe the technical working group could keep their eye on that and look for opportunities for us to participate.
Yep, I can be on behalf of the board talk to the Collard, Dave, and just and get back to you. Yep. Okay.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, that's good, Toss. Thank you.
Marty, you have something? Marty?
No, that was just a thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay, right. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
Oh, sorry, Hami. Just to really quickly, the reprint of the plan.
Yeah.
Look, it's been approved, but I need to follow up with Matua Graham next week. Some of the grammatical changes you had flagged with me, Matua Graham. So let's pick those up next week. I'll send you a thing so I can pass that on to the TSG and we can get that sorted.
I've already sent that through to you guys, to Sheila.
Okay. Ka pai.
Okay. Yeah.
Kia ora, Matua Graham.
Excellent.
Okay. Kia ora.
Oh, well, te aho nei ko o te pai ngā kaupapa ngā te pairoa nei. Is there any other matters that anyone wants to discuss?
I'm not sure if all the board members are aware, but there has been a change at NRC in governance. Ords, have you given the board an update? We didn't make a paper for it. Just the restructure.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Sheila, aroha mai. Do you want to carry on and just give that update?
No, you're the new GM, so just then we can put it into the minutes that the board's been updated.
Ka pai, ka pai. So in terms of the restructure as the new paumana whakahaere, is that what you mean, Sheila?
Yep.
I was like, sorry, when you said governance, I was like,
oh well, no, yeah, sorry.
No, paiana.
Operating.
Paiana tira. Yes, just to let you know, as a result of the restructure at the regional council and really focusing on where our council wanna be prepared for the future that's coming. We did a restructure and we created in our executive leadership team 2 extra roles, but I was successful in achieving the role of the paumana whakahaere, which is the group manager of governance and engagement. So being in it for 6 weeks feels like a few years, but thank you, Sheila, for being able to share that with you all. And so this work will sit with my group, with Sheila as our lead for that. So, and I just probably want to take a moment to mihi to Ben, who will still be there supporting us as part of the TSG. But yeah, we're getting prepared for partnerships and ensuring that Te Oneroa-a-Tohe board has the support that they require to move into the next part of 2022. Nō reira, tēnā koutou.
Fantastic. Well, that's great news. It's it's good to, I mean, judging by the work you've done for us already here at the board, you're going to be great for that job. And and you have all of our support for it, of course. But the thing that really enthuses me is the development of Maori individuals within the auspices of local government administration, and to me, that's got to be a must for our future looking forward. And so I'm so pleased for us and so pleased for you.
Kia ora. Thank you, Hami. Thank you, the chair. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Okay, well, we're running out of juice, have we?
Yep.
If that's the case, thank you, Kerry, for attending once again. I must say, I appreciate you coming along, because it shows that you have an interest in this place, in this area, in your own family history, and in our people. So it's good to have you involved.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to be part of the team. I'm enjoying it and learning lots. Yeah, and as time goes on, I'll get a little bit stronger in my voice and have more input. Yeah, and I'll take the opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you all in the new year.
Thank you very much. Same to you. Kia ora, Marty.
just tautoko what you were saying to Kerry, that the Te Araroa Trail then becomes an advocate and a channel for our education for Te Oneroa-a-Tohe. So it's really good. Great.
Ko pau te hau ka riru ki a koe hana koko tākereama. Ke a koe te kupu whakamutunga.
Ai, kia ora tātou. Tēnā koe Hami, mihi ake na kia koe nāu tātou I kaua I roto I tēnei hui. Me nā hui katoa I muri. No rere mihi ake na kia koe, kiwa tātou mema katoa. E pāna ki tō tātou puari o te Oneroa-a-Tohe. No reira, e homa na mihi o te kiri me te tauhau kei mua I a tātou. Te tūmanako kia ora pai I tātou I roto I nā taimahatanga ko pā kia tātou I roto I tēnei au. No reira, kia tau mai te rangi Māria kia tātou. Me te matua ka oroa tēnei o ki mātou E koropi kua tōnei tēnei haura. I te tukoa ke tō mātou reo haka moemeti whakawhetai, whakakloria. Mona manakitanga I whiwhinei mātou mai te tīmatanga o tēnei huihuinga. Tainoa hoki ki tōna haka otinga. E inui tuna hoki kia koe te matua kia manaki tia mātou a te wā marangatu e mātou I tēnei hui. Kia ora pai e mātou a te roangake o tēnei rā, me nā rā ke mui a tātou. O tira wa mātou mahi katoa, hei a tīmata, hei a kōtia tūne I roto I taunei kloriatanga. Māone te manga I āwhina hei kai tautu ko mai ai nei a nei ai.
Wai, tēnā koe matua. Tēnā
Kia ora
tātou.
tātou.
Thank you very much.
Kia ora tata, meri kere hi me te kia koutou katoa me te tauhau hoki.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, ka kite.
Ai.